After taking office in 2001, the Bush administration and an assortment of government offices and other large corporations were accused of using video news releases, or VNRs, to push their policies. I wondered if this type of media manipulation might fall under an expanded definition of subliminal.
A video news release, or a VNR, is created by a public relations agency, usually, in order to communicate a specific message on the behalf of a client, whether it's a politician or a corporation or a government office. They're then sent out to news stations around the country, and these video news releases are provided to them for free.
Amy Goodman is host of Democracy Now!, a global, grassroots, independent daily news hour which broadcasts on over 500 public radio and television stations in America and around the world. She's also the co-author of Exception to the Rulers and Static.
These local and national newscasts have taken these stories and either taken the script and had their own reporters read the tracks using the government video or the corporate video, or they just let that story run. Looks like a new reporter on the staff.
This is not disclosed to the public. So there are people watching a program that they think is news, but the actual news reports aren't news reports at all, but are paid advertisements that look like news reports.
This is someone pushing a product, but it's presented as a fair and balanced report, which it, of course, isn't.
Video news releases are a pretty good example of subliminal suasion. I mean, you can see with your own eyes that it's there, but you don't think it's what it is.
While I don't know if I would call that subliminal, I do think that it fits into this entire environment of so much of our media operating on a below the radar, below the threshold of consciousness.
The rise in the use of video news releases has a great deal to do with the conglomeration of the mass media. Because as more and more TV stations around the country come to be owned by the fewer and fewer players, there's more and more cost cutting that goes on in the newsrooms of these stations.
When you look at a media environment where only 5 or 6 companies control the vast majority of the world's media, and they work in collaboration with each other, and they share members of boards of directors and things of that nature, like in the same way that I say we have to broaden our concept of subliminal, I think we also have to broaden our concept of what a conspiracy is.
They're using our airwaves, and they have a responsibility to bring out the full diversity of opinion and to get to the truth, not to bring you news stories that are disguised as their own when they're simply government or corporate propaganda.
I think that we're censored heavily without us even realizing it. I mean, just omitting a story from a newspaper is censorship. That happens every day.
This is why media monopoly matters. You really can silence different views. You can silence dissent when a few media moguls own so much, when you have just a few framing who is right and who is wrong, who is evil and who is good.
The Bush administration, I think, has been particularly aggressive in their use of things like video news releases.
The Bush-Cheney administration has used VNRs to push their prescription drug plan, and they've used it particularly heavily in trying to spread the word about the weapons of mass destruction inside Iraq.